Another morning, another project. I've come up the hill with the Triton. It's actually my second trip up here this morning. I've already taken down and processed a load of wood, and my next task is the continuation of what I was doing with my new Japanese secateurs a vlog or two ago, which is dealing with the tea tree down the firebreak. So I've come up to where the tea tree starts, and my intention is to work my way down the hill, putting the tea tree in the back of the Triton. Fingers crossed, it would be ideal if I could get it in one load, but we'll see. It's got a bigger tray than the Bromby, so that's helpful from that point of view. And then at another point, I'll start at the top and work my way down, taking out the other bits and bobs. There's not so much of that, and I just wanted to focus on the tea tree because that's the bulky thing. And all of this is in advance of what I hope will be first of many bonfires, which I will be lighting tomorrow. Hence why I'm concentrating on the tea tree. Burns really well, and there's so much more of it. Here we are then. Until tomorrow. Here we are then. It's bright and early, as you may be able to tell from the light, and I am off to start the first bonfire of this autumn-winter bonfire season. You would have seen it yesterday. I like to start them nice and early to maximise the amount of time they can burn, but also to benefit from the cooler temperatures early in the morning. This is what I'm working with. For me, this is a standard sized bonfire, and if you didn't know, my methodology for getting it started is to put on a load of boxes which we store in this cupboard under our library building water tank, and using a firelighter, light the firelighter and off we go. I will often have what I call a rolling bonfire, which is where I have rows, sometimes multiple, of additional material, which I will then put onto the bonfire and keep topping it up, so I'm getting sort of multiple bonfires out of one. Because it's so early in the bonfire season right now, I don't yet have that, but as soon as I'm starting the project of working my way around the property perimeter in earnest, it is likely that it'll start happening. But for now, time to set up the boxes and off we go. Certain times of year in damp weather, this type of moth somehow knows how to hatch and starts attacking lights, but I've never seen so many in one go. Look at them all on this building. Unbelievable. As you can see, I've just been up processing wood, and I noticed this, which I thought was quite cool. So I don't know if this hole was here before or if this hole has been caused by this mushroom, but yes, we have this fungus here trying to poke its way out through this hole in the ground. I think stuff like that's really interesting. But I must head back down the hill now and get this lot processed. I wanted to show you these two. The truck does go over them, so I'm not going to destroy them, but I was very impressed by the size of this one. I know we get some large mushrooms in the UK, and I've seen giant puffballs before that are, you know, football sized. But as far as mushrooms I've seen here go, this ranks as probably the biggest. You find me down with my trusty Husqvarna brush cutter. I recently was doing work on the property and the trimmer head, the one with the wire, broke. And so in order to be able to finish the task, I went through the rigmarole, although it's not that difficult, of putting on the cutting blade instead. But one of the recent trips I made into town, I picked up a new one of these. And because the work I intended to do this morning is trimming the grevillea garden, the tea tree that's popped up there, hopefully for the last time this growing season, although not the last time this year, I'm sure, I thought it would be a good idea to put this back on, because this cutting blade is really good for the tough grass, the sort of big pampas-y grass type stuff. But it's not so good for the tea tree, for getting in the nooks and crannies, and certainly on the terrain I'll be working on, which is very rocky. This is not ideal. So they each have a place. This one is very, very good for chewing through the tea tree, and it's very good at coping with rocks and can get right in there and take it out at the bottom. So I'm going to switch them back over again, and then maybe even switch them back over again, because this is handy. But anyway, that remains to be seen. This isn't the last time I'll need this cutting blade this season, but for now I'm going to put on this new trimmer head, and fingers crossed it goes relatively well. This is some of the tools that the brush cutter came with, and the only real trick to it is here. There's a little channel, and you put a device up there which locks it so that you can turn this without it spinning round and round. That's really all there is to it. To be honest, I am actually having quite a bit of difficulty. I'm not the most practical person, but so essentially this is the old trimmer head that I'm replacing. This is the new one. And I'm having a terrible time trying to screw it on. I noticed that if I flip them over, you may be able to see they look slightly different. This is obviously newer, but I've checked and double checked, and it is the right replacement for my brush cutter, which is the 129R. I just can't get it to go on. Anyway, I will persevere. But yes, not everything goes to plan, I'm afraid, and I may have to think of an alternative task for today if I can't get this to work. Well, I have given up on that. Neither Will nor I could get the new one on, although we can get the old one on and we can get the grass trimmer on. So we're, by a process of elimination, have assumed that this is somehow faulty. So I'm going to have to return it. Annoyingly, I guess, in order to prove my point when I get into town later in the week, I may have to take this with me, which I don't like to do because it's quite bulky actually, and it takes up a lot of space in my car, and obviously it was very petrol-y. So that then throws into question my whole plan for today. I guess I may just have to try with this one. Well, this morning hasn't gotten off to the best start. I did manage to put the grass cutting blade back on, and what I have done is I've trimmed along this bank here and up round this side of our main concrete water tank. What I can't do, however, is sort of jump the ditch and do the grevillea garden, because there's just so many more hazards up there in terms of rocks and branches that aren't great to hit with the grass cutting blade, but which the strimmer head with the wire on it can handle. So I've done what I can, so at least that's something. And so now I'll turn my attention to alternative tasks. And what I thought I would do is give this little screen in front of the concrete tank a bit of a trim, reduce the height of that a bit. And then the other thing I was planning on doing this morning is going to the back there of the grevillea garden and pulling out all the tumble over dead tea tree and dragging it down to the bonfire area, and then possibly also looking at trimming back any of the regrowth tea tree, which looks like it's encroaching on the 50-meter rule, which I'm allowed to have as a perimeter around my house. But first things first, I believe I have them in my pocket, using my lovely new Japanese secateurs, and in my other pocket, wearing my lovely new gardening gloves. I'm going to work on getting these reduced in height a little bit. I thought this was quite interesting. On this section of fallen over dead tea tree, there's this vine creeping all through it. Actually, so I'm not too sure how easy it's going to be to get this out as a result of that, but anyway, I'm noticing as I am going about my business, there are so many mushrooms and funguses popping up. They're sort of everywhere. I swear the air sort of smells like cream of mushroom soup. It's quite pleasant in a way. I'm not the world's biggest soup fan, but I could go a bowl of Campbell's condensed cream of mushroom soup right now.